Your top stories this evening, sponsored by Courts, bringing value home. Government making attempts to stop persons from cheating contract system. Jagdeo returns after HIATUS says he was planning, not hiding. Cuban medical brigade ready for comeback. Ambassador. Cuban national gunned down in Queenstown. Police know identity of the suspect. Sources. And in sport, Ballers Empire cops $1 million top prize in just concluded Guinness Greatest of the Streets football tournament. HGP Nightly News begins now. Good evening to our viewers here in Guyana and online. I'm ALETHEA Grant with the Monday, 11th May 2026 edition of the HGP Nightly News. In the news tonight, in his analysis of the ongoing Guyana-Venezuela border controversy currently engaging the International Court of Justice, political scientist Dr. David Hines believes civic education should be implemented at all educational levels to ensure citizens understand their identity and political landscape. Antonio Day opens tonight's broadcast.
At the level of the school from nursery to university, a student must not graduate from primary school, from secondary school, from the university without taking at least 2 courses on civics.
That was Dr. David Hines addressing the importance of expanding public education in the school and university curricula at his party's press briefing Friday last. Capitalizing on modern platforms like social media, the political scientists reasoned that issues such as Venezuelan territorial controversy and the broader Caribbean identity should be ventilated.
Those civic courses must be the Venezuelan controversy and, of course, our larger CARICOM identity.
Understanding these topics deeply equips students with the knowledge to appreciate their nation's place in regional and global contexts, he noted. For instance, the Essequibo territorial claim is a vital part of national consciousness that should be ingrained in every citizen from a young age.
As a nation, our history as a nation, and most importantly, our territorial integrity. This is Essequibo. Essequibo belongs to Guyana. Every child should be saying that.
Historically, songs and slogans around such issues have resonated deeply with children and adults alike, but these efforts have lacked a sustained, organized educational framework. Dr. Hines pointed out that repeated exposure to key messages is a proven strategy, one that Venezuela has historically effectively employed in its public education campaigns. The Partnership for National Unity Member of Parliament says it is not too late for the government to use social media at its full advantage to keep such campaigns active. Antonio, reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Vice President Barrett Jagdeo says the People's Progressive Party civic government is working to prevent persons from cheating the small contractor system as confusion and complaints continue over the rollout of contracts for small contractors countrywide. Here's that story.
Monday's public engagement at the Argacham Conference Center was marked by overcrowding and confusion, with many citizens seeking answers on whether they would benefit from government's small contractor program. To manage the crowd, persons were separated according to the issues they came to raise and directed to different rooms for one-on-one engagement with ministers and technical officers on the ground. On the issue of small contracts, Vice President Barrett Jagdeo said government has introduced a pre-qualification exercise to ensure the award of contracts more transparent and to give more small contractors access to public works.
Thousands of Guyanese were helped. Some had complained that they did not know of the process. So the best way of getting everyone to know of the process and be part of it was to go through a pre-qualification exercise.
Jagdeo said some of the problems identified include cases where several members of the same family appeared to have separate companies, even though the pre-qualification rules prohibits that type of arrangement.
So we've been vetting the list with a lot of difficulties. You have some people who, 4 family members, might have 4 different companies, and we prohibited that in the pre-qualification document.
Jagdeo also said there is also a push from some larger contractors allegedly trying to enter the system under the category of small contractors.
We never said it would be an easy task, because you have a lot of people who are trying to cheat the system. And we are sometimes caught in the middle, and we have to take tough decisions, but we will do so.
Jagdeo said, too, that if thousands of applicants are legitimately pre-qualified, the government will try to ensure each receives at least one contract over the course of the year. Marvin Cato reporting for HGP Nightly News.
Meanwhile, the opposition's chief whip has accused the government of serious government and conflict of interest issues after the utterances of the country's sitting vice president on the issue of small contracts. The vice president's utterances came during Monday's public engagement with hundreds of small contractors and other Guyanese seeking to address their consequences at the Otachang Conference Center. Marvin Cato reports.
In an exclusive interview with Nightly News, Opposition Chief Whip Tabitha Sarbo-Hali said concerns raised by Opposition Leader Azharuddin Mohammed seems to have reached the ears of the Vice President Jagdeo. The decision by Mr. Jagdeo to publicly address the issues raised by the Leader of the Opposition pertaining to small contracts appears to confirm that these concerns could not simply be dismissed.
His intervention, I believe, suggests that there was significant public concern surrounding the confusion over the contracts.
She pointed out that the decision was made to stall the process when the opposition leader, Friday last, highlighted several discrepancies among the awarding of small contracts to friends of the government. Internal disagreements between government officials, she said, is also telling. Sarbo-Hali said, more importantly, the Vice President's own remarks regarding companies allegedly owned by sitting ministers of the government and receiving contracts raises serious governance issues and conflict of interest concerns.
Whether lawful or not, the mere acknowledgement of such practices goes directly to the heart of what the Leader of the Opposition has consistently highlighted.
Over the past year, the growing public perception had been that politically connected individuals and senior officials are benefiting from these contracts. That was consistently being addressed by the Leader of the Opposition, she lamented. Haley said it is visible from Monday's public engagement that the systems the government has in place is inadequate to deal with the issues and the concerns of Guyanese citizens all across the country. There is the Public Service Efficiency Department that is clearly inefficient since citizens are now forced to engage public officials seeking redress.
Many ordinary Guyanese are really struggling, and these contracts, I think, are a way for persons to at least put some food on the tables of their family.
Marvin Cato reporting for HGP Nightly News.
After months of public speculation, political whispers, and rumors about his health, Vice President Jagdeo has re-emerged into the public spotlight, making it clear that he was not sick nor hiding. Here's that story.
For months, Vice President Jagdeo's lower public profile fueled questions, political chatter, and even rumors about his health. Now back before the public, Jagdeo is pushing back firmly, saying his absence was not due to illness, secrecy, or a retreat from government responsibilities. Instead, Jagdeo said his reduced public presence was part of a shift from campaign mode to planning mode. Speaking during a public engagement, the Vice President addressed the speculation directly, saying he was aware that some persons were spreading claims about his health during his absence from regular public engagements.
They're speculating about me. They said I'm sick, I have cancer. All of that is, they don't understand. The elections were over. We campaigned aggressively. We won a big majority.
For about 6 months, Jagdeo has kept a much lower public profile than many had grown accustomed to, triggering questions about where he was and why he had stepped back from the usual rounds of public and political engagements. Although some recent public appearances sparked comments that he did not look quite himself, Jagdeo again assured the media that he's in good health.
My role changed from General Secretary of the party and shifting from campaign to planning. We have to build 40,000 homes to get a lot of issues addressed.
He also indicated that his press conferences will return, but with a focus mainly on a government business rather than political attacks or campaign-style messaging.
I allow them to speculate about my absence. I don't care too much what they think about me once the country moves forward and our people get assistance. I don't care what they think about me personally.
His return marks a shift from the quiet behind-the-scenes phase he described as planning to a more visible role in explaining how the government intends to implement its post-election commitments. Antonio De reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Join us after the break. We have more news for you.
Electrical Inc., where lighting and electrical needs are met with expertise and style. From the latest in electrical lamps to durable cables, circuit breakers, panels, we have it all. Illuminate your space with our elegant chandeliers, stunning crystal lights, and versatile pole lights. Looking to upgrade your comfort? Explore top-of-the-line AC units and our diverse selections of stylish styles. Visit us at 170-180 Thomas Street, Kitty, Georgetown. Discover a solution that not only lights up your world but transforms it. Call us on telephone number 226-3018 or 223-1634. SNL Electrical Inc., powering your life with elegance, quality, and care.
Krishna Rao Establishment. No job is too small or too large. We specialize in all types of fabricating machinery, excavator repairs, rice field pumps, and hydraulic hoses. Visit us at Lot 113, Block CC, Manripo, East Coast, and Marara, or call 220-9624, 629-4021, or 619-7880. At Krishna Rock Establishment, no job is too small or too large.
The HGP Nightly News. The recent issue involving a senior police officer and a junior rank has raised eyebrows, and the former senior police officer Paul Slow believes that for police officers in the respective departments to effectively execute their functions, there must be clear standing orders or published forces orders. Marvin Cato reports.
Clifton Hicken, Commissioner of Police, addressing the recent incident involving a junior rank performing anti-crime duties and stopping a vehicle with obscure license plate, which resulted in the driver allegedly calling a senior police official to ensure the junior rank does not enforce the law. Former Assistant Police Commissioner Paul Slow addressed the matter on his podcast, speaking out, exposing corruption.
I think it was a corporal there. He took the phone, which he should have never done. And the person identified, the person at the other end, said them is Deputy Commissioner.
Slow said the stop was as a result of alleged suspicion by the anti-crime rank. That led the officer to stop the vehicle and proceeded to perform his duties. Slow is of the view that if the commissioner wants police officers to stay in their lane and perform their respective duties, certain measures must be enforced. If not, he said officers may see issues occurring that is outside of their designation or jurisdiction and will not render assistance. Slow did not hold back his criticism, saying the commissioner seems to be out of his depths with policing procedures and responsibilities. The former senior police officer said while attempting to address the issue of corruption on the roads, the approach is worrying. He said the statement made by the Commissioner of Police borders incompetence and will lead to chaos. He referenced Commissioner Clifton Hicken's most recent utterings.
Traffic police are traffic police. General duty police are general duty police. Anti-crime police are anti-crime police. You know why it's treason? Conflict and corruption.
He said the order, if it is written, is not worth the paper it is written on. The law is clear, Slow said. Any policeman in uniform can stop you if a driver has committed an offense. He noted that if the commissioner wants to make an order for strict compliance, he must first make a standing order or publish it in the force orders, then it becomes a lawful order. However, He also stressed that it would contradict the law because Article 1601 gives policemen and women the power to stop, search, and detain as soon as they are sworn in. He said they are trying to address the many credible allegations where many of these stops are done for the sole purpose of shaking people down. Marvin Cato reporting for HGP Nightly News.
The Cuban ambassador to Guyana has reaffirmed his country's commitment to medical cooperation despite the Guyana government's unwillingness to renew the now defunct Cuban medical mission agreement. Antonio Day sat down with the diplomat and filed this report.
The Cuban medical mission, a long-standing symbol of Cuba's international medical diplomacy, played a significant role in providing healthcare services and medical expertise to Guyana. Its withdrawal marked a notable shift, but did not signal an end to Cuba's willingness to collaborate in the healthcare sector. Ambassador Jorge Soberon Luis, during an exclusive interview with Nightly News, emphasized that Cuba remains open to dialogue and partnership opportunities to continue supporting Guyana's healthcare system.
It has been a very meaningful contribution. I have to point out that our medical personnel was positioned in all the 10 regions of Guyana. So they were very committed. They made a lot of sacrifices and efforts in order to give their best to the people of Guyana.
The Cuban medical cooperation included training and knowledge exchange, influencing future agreements with Guyana. The diplomat provided statistics on the recently concluded Cuban Medical Brigade, which had significantly impacted Guyana's healthcare systems.
They also did more than 284,000 surgeries. Also, 60,000 and more Guyanese children were born with the assistance and with the presence of our medical personnel.
Ambassador Louis expressed readiness to explore renewed framework to address concerns that led to an abrupt end to the agreement. The Cuban ambassador told this media outlet that he has clearly communicated the Hispanic nation's intention to maintain and potentially deepen medical cooperation with Guyana. He, however, noted that decision lies solely at the feet of Guyanese policymakers.
Has the government of Cuba reached out to the Guyanese government regarding the recent actions that were taken to disband the Cuban Medical Brigade?
We continue to have a permanent communication and interaction with government of Guyana regarding all areas possible for collaboration.
Ambassador Lee emphasized Cuba's commitment to global health collaboration and its partnership with Guyana in the medical field. Antonio Day reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Travis Chase will tell you now in this report that the police might very well be aware of who the gunman is behind Sunday's execution-style killing of a Cuban national, yet the killer remains at large.
Police are believed to be investigating the execution-style killing of a 23-year-old Cuban national outside a business establishment on Forshaw Street, Queenstown, in the early hours of Sunday morning. Dead is Daniel Vegas, who was employed as a janitor and resided at Alexander Village, Georgetown. According to the bar's owner, Vegas's killer went to the establishment earlier that night and confronted him. An argument ensued and he left. Hours later, he returned and shot him to the head.
That happened about 2 o'clock in the morning. So next 2 hours, the same guy come back with 2 more guys and called the guy outside and shoot the man just so. Shoot the man and then get away.
The suspect then escaped in a waiting motor vehicle while the others fled separately from the scene. The victim was pronounced dead at the scene and his body was taken to the Memorial Gardens Funeral Home pending an autopsy. Investigators say using the Police Force Command Center and surveillance system later intercepted a vehicle believed to be linked to the shooting. A 45-year-old woman from Little Diamond, East Bank, Demerara, was arrested and remains in custody as police continue to review CCTV footage and process the vehicle for evidence. HGP Nightly News understands that investigators already know the identity of the gunman responsible for the fatal shooting. Sources close to the investigation say concerns are mounting that the probe is being deliberately slowed despite surveillance footage, vehicle tracking data, and other critical evidence already in the possession of investigators. HGP Nightly News will continue to closely monitor developments in this case as pressure grows for swift action and accountability. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News.
Stay tuned, we have more news for you.
Planning a cleanup? We can help. Cvon's Waste Management skip bins can be provided for home renovation projects, yard cleanup, or construction project. It's simple. Step 1, give us a call. Step 2, we put down the bin. Step 3, load it up with all of your junk. Step 4, we take it away. That's simple. Bins are also available in various sizes, so there is no job that is too big or too small. Call Cvon's Waste Management today at 218-1455.
You're watching the HGP Nightly News. Opposition Member of Parliament Sherrod Duncan has submitted a motion to the National Assembly calling for the establishment of an independent office of the Surveillance Commissioner to oversee state surveillance systems and biometric technologies in Guyana. Here's that story.
The motion raises concerns over the expansion of government Safe Country initiative, including the use of facial recognition systems, biometric monitoring, and AI-enabled surveillance technology across the country. According to the motion, more than $6 billion Guyana have been allocated towards surveillance infrastructure in recent national budgets. Duncan argues that while technology may aid public security, there must also be safeguards to protect citizens' constitutional rights, including privacy, freedom of expression, and protection against arbitrary intrusion. The motion also references concerns raised by both the European Union Election Observation Mission and the Commonwealth Observer Group regarding the handling and protection of citizens' personal data. The motion is therefore calling for tighter oversight of government surveillance systems. If approved, the proposed Surveillance Commissioner would be empowered to audit facial recognition systems, investigate complaints of unlawful surveillance, conduct compliance, reviews, and issue public reports on state surveillance activities. The motion was seconded by MP Joretta Fernandes and dated May 19, 2026. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News.
Stay tuned for regional news.
Guyana, up your cash. Over 100 winners. More than $2.5 million in cash and prizes up for grabs. Win cash every week. Plus a chance to up your cash to $500,000. And that's not all. Win back your grocery bill up to $20,000 cash every week. Just grab any Buster Turbo Energy Drink, Fruitopia, Oasis flavored water, Fruita, or Viva Sparkling flavored water. Look for the code starting with BB, then visit at Buster Guyana on Facebook or Instagram for details. Up your cash today.
GCOM is currently conducting a national registration exercise. If you have moved to a new address since you were registered, you are required to update your address by applying for a transfer to ensure your address is accurate. Where to apply for a transfer? Visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to apply for a transfer. When to apply for a transfer? You can apply to have your address updated during this national registration exercise. This registration exercise will end on May 29, 2026. The office hours for GCOM are: permanent registration offices open Monday to Thursdays from 8 to 12 hours and 13 to 16 hours 30, and on Fridays from 8 to 12 hours and 13 to 15 hours 30. The offices will be closed on weekends and holidays. For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-027729 or visit www.gcom.org.ui.
Good evening and welcome to Monday's edition of the Regional News. I'm Antonio Lee. Here's what you need to know as we turn attention to news in the region. In Antigua and Barbuda, health officials say that the risk of hantavirus spreading on the islands remains low, despite an outbreak linked to a cruise ship in the central Atlantic that has resulted in 3 deaths. The Ministry of Health said that surveillance has been heightened, particularly at ports of entry and within the cruise sector, as authorities monitor developments alongside regional and international public health agencies. The ministry also said additional precautionary measures are being implemented for cruise vessels and incoming ships, while Antigua and Barbuda Port Authority has been kept informed of the situation. Turning attention to news in Trinidad and Tobago, the government's handling of an offshore oil spill in the Gulf of Paria has come under scrutiny, with the opposition and a political analyst raising concerns about delayed disclosure, accountability, and the potential diplomatic fallout in an already sensitive relationship with neighboring Venezuela. The Guardian on Sunday said that efforts to obtain a comment from Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar were unsuccessful, as she referred all questions on the matter to NG Minister Dr. Rudal Munilal. While Munilal sought to downplay the incident, dismissing it as a minor, quickly contained event and insisting that there was no cause for alarm, former Energy Minister and opposition member Stuart Young accused the government and Heritage Petroleum Company Limited of attempting to conceal what he described as a significant environmental incident. Political analyst Dr. Shane Mohammed warned that poor communication strained ties with Caracas after Venezuela reported an oil spill from Trinidad and Tobago's waters, citing environmental damage to the Gulf of Paria and urging compliance with international law. In response, Trinidad and Tobago's Ministry of Energy and Energy Industries released an account of the incident, confirming that Heritage Petroleum detected an oil spill at its main offshore field at approximately 7:25 a.m. on May 1. According to the ministry, oil spill response protocols were immediately activated, and regulatory agencies, including the ministry itself, the Environmental Management Authority, and the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard, were notified without delay. And finally, with international news, President Donald Trump rejected Iran's response to U.S. peace talks undermining hopes to end the 10-week conflict affecting Iran, Lebanon, maritime traffic, and global energy prices, Reuters reported. Days after the United States floated an offer in hopes of reopening negotiations, Iran on Sunday released a response focused on ending the war on all fronts, especially Lebanon. Tehran also demanded compensation for war damage, emphasized its sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz, and called on the U.S. to end its naval blockade, guarantee no further attacks, lift sanctions, and remove a ban on Iranian oil sales. Within hours of the Iranian proposal's release, Trump dismissed it with a post on social media, quoting, "I do not like it, totally unacceptable." Trump wrote on Truth Social without giving further detail. The U.S. had proposed an end to fighting before starting talks on more contentious issues, including Iran's nuclear program. That has brought us to the end of Monday's edition of the Regional News. I'm Antonio Day, saying good night and do have an enjoyable rest of the evening.
Let's now join Darwin Neblett for HGP's Sports Pulse.
Good evening, Guyana. I'm Darwin Neblett with your HGP TV Sports Pulse for today, Monday, May 11, 2026. We begin tonight with cycling. The Flying Ace Cycle Club, in collaboration with CARICOM Rice Mill and Builders Hardware, successfully held the Essequibo leg of the 2026 Jagan Memorial Cycle Race on Saturday. Competing from Supernam to Freedom House in Anna Regina and returning to Supernam, Brighton John maintained his dominance in 2026 by securing another sensational victory ahead of rising star Alex Newton in second and veteran Robin Prasad in third. Into football, national striker Naron Barrow is peaking at the right time for title contenders Waterhouse FC in the 2026 Jamaica Premier League. After scoring in a dominant 4-0 victory against Dunbeholden FC to end the regular season on Wednesday, Barrow once again opened the scoring with a superb finish in a keenly contested 2-2 draw against the Cavalier Football Club in the first leg of their quarterfinals fixture at the National Stadium in Kingston on Sunday. More in football action concluded in the 2026 Guinness Greatness in the Streets football tournament, with multiple fixtures at the National Cultural Center Tarmac in Georgetown on Friday. East Bank and West Demerara Zone champions Ballers Empire carted off with the $1 million top prize after a hard-fought 2-1 victory over Georgetown's Leopold Street in the grand final. Earlier in the third place playoff, Bent Street B secured a 2-1 victory on penalties after playing to a 1-1 draw against the Supernam All-Stars. Moving into cricket, action continued in the Georgetown Cricket Association's N-Line Security Logistics Inc. Under 17 50 overs tournament, with the Multino Sports Club taking on the Transport Sports Club at the Transport Sports Club ground in Georgetown on Sunday. Batting first, Transport reached 412 for 7 of the allotment of 50 overs, on the back of a magnificent 250 from West Indies under-19 wicketkeeper batter Shamar Apple. The record-breaking innings marks the third double century by a Transport player, after previous doubles from Shahid Gittins and Emmanuel Lewis. Nathaniel Ramkelawan and Deshaun Ramnorth each picked up 2 wickets for Maltinos. When the Maltino Sports Club responded, they reached 49 for 1 in 9 overs before rain discontinued play without any further action taking place. Finally, in cricket, action commenced in a 4-day warm-up match between the Guyana Harpy Eagles and the West Indies Cricket Academy at the Antigua Recreation Ground in St. John's on Sunday. Winning the toss and batting first, the West Indies Academy reached 423 for 6 in 91 overs on the back of brilliant centuries from Rivaldo Clark and Amari Goodrich, both remaining unbeaten on scores of 165 and 109 respectively. Versami Pamal was the pick of the Guyanese bowlers on day 1, taking 3 for 113 in 28 overs. That's it for this edition of the HGP TV Sports Pulse. I am Delwyn Neblett reminding you to stay in the game.
Government making attempts to stop persons from cheating contract system. Jagdeo returns after HIATUS says he was planning, not hiding. Cuban medical brigade ready for comeback. Ambassador. Cuban national gunned down in Queenstown. Police no identity of the suspect. Sources. And in sport, Ballers Empire cops $1 million top prize in just concluded Guinness Greatest of the Streets football tournament. Those are our major headlines. For these stories and more, please go to our website. It's www.hgptv.com. I'm ALETHEA Grant. Thanks for watching.